Good afternoon, and welcome to the AARP in the Virgin Islands and WTJX Virgin Island Public Broadcasting System Gubernatorial Candidates Forum. A special welcome to the candidates seeking to lead this territory in a historic time, when the stakes are high, especially when it comes to making lives better for Virgin Islanders. Our audience is live, and the event is being streamed as well. I'm Troy Deshabert-Schuster, AARP State Director in the Virgin Islands. AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to advocating for policies that empower people aged 50 and older to choose how they live as they age. With a nationwide presence and nearly 38 million members, with over 22,000 members living in the Virgin Islands, AARP has a history of providing Americans with trusted information. This is one of the main reasons AARP exists. As a wise friend and fierce defender for older Americans, AARP has been convening forums of candidates running for public office on issues that matter most to families, especially on matters of health care, financial security, and livable communities for more than 30 years. It is our hope that today's forum will allow you, the voting public, to hear directly from the candidates about the course they envision for the future of the territory. Before we get started, I would like to thank our event partner, WTJX, for helping to make today's forum possible. In particular, I thank WTJX's Chief Executive Officer, Tanya Singh, the station's Board of Directors, and staff for their partnership, which allows us to broadcast this forum live on our local PBS member station and online via the station's website and Facebook page. I also thank today's moderators, Susan Ellis and Dr. Laverne Ragster. Susan Ellis, a graduate of Colorado Mesa University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Mass Communications. She relocated to St. Croix in 1992 to serve as Director of Development for Lutheran Social Services of the Virgin Islands. As Development Director, Susan led the fundraising efforts for the largest fundraising event in the territory, the Queen Louise Golf Tournament. She also worked for Global Capital Advisors, an EDC company, the Caribbean Museum Center for the Arts, and the St. Croix Foundation. Since 2009, Ellis has been a journalist for print and online news outlets, including the VI Source. And co-moderator, Dr. Laverne Ragster. Dr. Ragster, born and raised in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, is a retired professor of marine biology and president emerita of the University of the Virgin Islands. Over the span of her career, Dr. Ragster has conducted research and training in the areas of algal physiology and natural resource management, presented and published in the areas of plant physiology, natural resource management, and training, and obtained training and practical experience in institutional and leadership development. Dr. Ragster has served on regional and national boards and commissions to include the Island Resources Foundation, VI Waste Management Authority, VI Public Television System, League of Women Voters VI, and the Rotary Club of St. Thomas II. I will now turn the forum over to Susan Ellis.
Welcome to this Candidates Forum. I'm Susan Ellis, one of the moderators for today's event. Today we have an opportunity to hear from individuals who would like to be our next governor and to learn of their ability to lead the Virgin Islands to a sustainable and healthy future for us all. Joining me today is Dr. Laverne E. Ragster, co-moderator, and Mr. Rick Grant, the timekeeper. Mr. Grant is a civil servant, published author, and mentor who has a passion for community building. Mr. Grant holds a Master's of Public Administration from the University of the Virgin Islands and a Master's of Service and Philosophy from Walden University. Currently, he serves as a Senior Program Manager, Project Leader with the Virgin Islands Housing Finance Authority. As timekeeper, Mr. Grant will alert the candidate on the time remaining to respond to the questions and will signal to the moderator and candidates when the time is up. A green sign will indicate that the candidate has 1 minute to finish his answer, and at 30 seconds, the timekeeper will hold up a yellow sign that says 30 seconds, followed by another yellow sign that says 15 seconds. When the time has expired, Mr. Grant will ring a bell. Again, welcome, and we look forward to a thoughtful and robust forum. Dr. Wagster will share the procedures for the forum.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis. Good afternoon. It is important to note that all the candidates running for the office of governor were invited to participate in today's forum. However, candidate Stephen Smokey Fred has indicated that he is unable to participate. This forum is a nonpartisan activity and will be conducted with the sobriety and respect that characterizes all AARP events. Expressions of a partisan nature will not be allowed in the room. This event is strictly educational and informative, and attacks or comments against other candidates or political parties are strictly prohibited. To our audience, please ensure that all mobile devices are in the silent or off mode. Please refrain from cheering or clapping until the end of the forum, and please respect the integrity of today's live broadcast and refrain from recording or filming the forum. The participation rules for today's forum include the following. First, the order of presentation in the forum is based on the candidate's number on the ballot. Second, each candidate will be given the opportunity to answer all the questions in the following manner. Each candidate has a maximum of 2 minutes for their introductory statement, and then following introductions, each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond to each question. After all the candidates have responded to the initial question, keeping the same order, they will have a maximum of 60 seconds for rebuttal. After all the questions have been asked and responded to, candidates will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. Let's meet the candidates vying to be the next governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands that are here in attendance. Candidates, you will now offer your introductory statement, and you will have a maximum of 2 minutes. And we'll start to my right with Governor Bryan, who will be calling everyone candidate after this. But Governor Bryan, go ahead.
Good evening, Dr. Rockster, Ms. Ellis, Mr. Schuster, Mr. Scott, my fellow candidates on the podium. I would like to say a special acknowledgement to my wife, Yolanda, in the crowd, and my Lieutenant Governor, Tregenza Roach. I am Albert Bryan, Jr., your gubernatorial candidate in the 2022 election and your current governor. I'd also like to say that I'm also a card-carrying member of the AARP and a proud partner of such over the last 4 years. 4 years ago, I came to you, Virgin Islanders, telling you to change course now. And over the course of that 4 years, we have certainly changed the course of these beautiful islands. I told you that trust and transparency was most important as the first tenet of our tenure at governor and lieutenant governor. I also told you I was going to restore that trust in the government. I was going to take that trust and I was going to get more investment from federal and private partners. Once that investment came to the island, I was going to share that investment and put it back in our people. Since then, we have returned to the bond market for the first time in over 15 years. The Virgin Islands now has a GRS pension system that is solvent and moving forward very rapidly. We have paved our roads. We have repaid over $100 million in back wages to government workers. And our business community and economy is stronger than ever. We are asking you for your vote and your continued support to continue on a course of prosperity for this Virgin Islands. With the 20-year plan called the Vision 2040, we have vision, creativity, and most of all, vitality to power these islands for the next 4 years and certainly on to the future. I ask that you continue your support of this administration. And thank you for all that you have done to get us through a 100-year global pandemic with shining colors. We stand today as an example in the Caribbean of how governments should be run and how people should be treated. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Picard, you are next.
Yes, ma'am. Well, good night, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, my fellow candidates here, and to all staff members presently. I want to thank AARP for introducing us and rather inviting us here to this wonderful forum, educational forum. Most importantly, I'd like to thank God for being presently here today. The fact still remains that we do have a serious problem with health care, and the mere fact that every single person is here in attendance shows that we are lucky to know that we are still here alive and kicking. Praise God for that, right? So when I received my first card from AARP, I said, whoa, I'm getting old. I was thrown back by it, but you know, it's reality and realization. Tonight, you will hear a lot of educational programs on plans that I plan in the Picard-Turnbull administrations that would help us move forward in the Virgin Islands. Healthcare itself is on life support. And I'm coming here to take it off of it. I'm here to make sure that we all live a balanced life in all three levels as it pertains to healthcare, which is highly imperative. And it has affected every single person in this room, family member-wise. My name is Ronald Picard, and number 2 on your ballot, the Picard-Turnbull ticket. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Picard. Senator Vele, could you please give your introductory statement?
Thank you. Good evening to the people of the Virgin Islands, and let me begin by saying good evening to my wife, good evening to my running mate, and our supporters who are here with us tonight. I am officially running for governor, and this decision wasn't easy, but I believe it is absolutely the best way for me to be able to impact this community. This administration has failed our territory. The state of healthcare is crumbling. Our education system is in chaos. The Envision program is non-existent. Crime is rapidly rising. This has occurred under this particular administration. A Vele Saro administration will quickly address many of these issues. We plan to address education by combating the learning loss that is presently taking place in the system. We plan to create partnerships in healthcare to be able to improve the quality of healthcare across the Virgin Islands. We have worked together for the last 6 years. My name is Scott Vele, I didn't say my name. We have worked together in the Senate for the last 6 years, and we have formed partnership and begin to create solutions to solve the problems of the Virgin Islands. I want to say that the good Senator Saro and myself was able to craft the GRS bill to make sure that GRS is included and that we provided additional monies for the system so that they can remain solvent. A Vele Saro team is the way to go. It is a way to bring back integrity to the people of the Virgin Islands. It is a way for us to improve government. Vote number 4, Vele Saro.
Now to the question and answer portion of our forum. The candidates will respond in the following order. Governor Bryan is number 1, Mr. Picard is number 2, and Senator Vele is 3. Those numbers will be rotated with each question. For the first questions have to do with good government. Governor Bryan, maintaining the trust and confidence in the government requires strong democratic processes and government institutions. How do you plan to improve transparency in the VI government under your administration with respect to funding, planning, and implementation of activities and events and development of policies impacting the community?
One of the things, thank you for the questions. That's excellent. The Brian Roach administration is the most transparent administration in the history of the Virgin Islands. Every single RFP that we sent out goes out for bid publicly. It is also posted on the internet. Every single transaction the government makes, including down to my paycheck, my credit card, you can see. Every single one. Every federal dollar, you can either go to USVI ODR or VIHFA or the government website. Even through the blackest part of the pandemic, on a regular basis, twice a week, I reported to you on the comings and going on. What I would do to improve it, I would make the legislature more transparent. Right now, the legislature doesn't come before the budget, the financial board hearing in order for them to find out where our money is being spent. There's no transparency in procurement. They don't adhere to the laws of procurement. And while many say that we hit one bid contracts or no bid contracts, the legislature regularly gives out contracts to people headed by Kurt VLA and the financial team. They have never queried the senators as to what they do with their some $450,000 of budget that they go every year. The judiciary, we will do the same. Waste management and all the other agencies. So we continue to forge forward. Our main thing is to trust us. You know where we stand. Throughout the last 4 years, I've told you the truth, even when it hurt the administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Picard, how do you plan to improve transparency in the VI government under your administration?
First and foremost, ma'am, if I may say, this administration has obviously not been the most transparent administration in history. I mean, that's obvious. The mere fact that we do have a health care situation issue. Whenever you have protests in any government, doesn't matter where we are, when the people come out and protest, that means they're protesting against grievances. Protesting is about bad behavior, bad living condition, bad working condition, bad equipment, or rather the lack of equipment. So that's, I mean, it's obvious. Everybody knows that health care is a problem here in the Virgin Islands. In the Picard-Turnbull administration, there are several programs, strategies we plan to implement as soon as we're in. If the programs that we plan to implement is not sped up to date within 6 months, we plan to declare a state of emergency as it pertains to health care. By doing that, we will not have to touch any money in the Treasury, number one. Number two, the most of the money will be coming from the federal government. Now, our main thing in the Picard-Turnbull administration is to have a relationship with the Senate. It makes no sense to have animosity amongst ourselves. It makes no sense to continue to throw blame on each other. I mean, we have two of my candidates here who have numerous amount of years in legislature and then 3 years and 10 months in the government. Yet it's obvious we still have a problem with health care. We plan to attack that and address it. They have 4 bills right now circling around in the legislature. Our plan is to work with the Senate and trying to see if we can get those bills turned into an act, and the act turned into a judicial system and have it enforced.
Thank you. And Senator VLA.
Thank you so much. Laws are established for a certain reason, and there are laws that govern the people of the Virgin Islands and govern the territory. The Virgin Islands Code must be adhered to, and the provisions in that code that speaks to transparency must be adhered to. We cannot have a government that follows property and procurement protocols for certain divisions, but when it comes to certain areas under disaster recovery, we circumvent and go through the Public Finance Authority, and no one knows what is going on. All contracts should go through property and procurement, and there should be no way or no reason to circumvent that particular process. I will continue with the transparency website and make sure that we maintain the website and that we expand the website so that the people of the Virgin Islands can know everything that is taking place. But when you have contractors who become subcontractors and hide under a company and get bids for $1 million, $4 million, that is not transparency. When you execute a $1 million contract extension, just recently in the Housing Finance Authority, that is not transparency when the board did not approve it. So we say one thing, but we act totally different in reference to the finances of this government. And as the finance chair, I have seen it all.
Thank you. Are there any
Rebut.
candidates that wish to?
Yeah.
Okay. Governor Bryant, you have 60 seconds.
For 14 years, the senator and his running mate have sat in the legislature and have done nothing to make the legislature more transparent. Actually, they have done everything in their power to distract and to deter transparency. Well, we've been trying for the last 3.5 years in order to get the legislature's finances on, and yet nothing there. The candidate talks about no bid contracts and that are not going through property and procurement, but he can't produce any of them. But where are the $5,000 and $6,000 and the $10,000 contracts that the candidate and his running mate give out to their buddies in the legislature? We had a COVID for 2.5 years. And in that time, I think we must have had maybe one no-bid contract, if that. We adhere to the legislative rules of the body, of the code as much as possible. But in a pandemic, action is what is needed. And is action what we did? While they talk, we responded. And if we were waiting for the finance chair to get it done, we would have been still afflicted by COVID in this territory.
Thank you.
Rebuttal.
Rebuttal, Senator Vialet?
Thank you so much. COVID was basically managed by the rules of the CDC. The legislature has a $20 million budget. The central government has a budget of $900+ million. The good governor speaks about a $5,000 and $6,000 contract, of which I have none. But he fails to say that he tried to pass a $1 million contract that was revealed on the floor of the Senate Department of Health, in which he was given to a family member. So how dare you speak about a $5,000, $6,000 contract when you try to execute a $1 million contract? Thank God the lieutenant governor had the integrity to say that I am not going to be involved and I will not sign that contract. So it was squashed. And the contract was revealed to us by other companies who had actually bid and were in discussion to get the contract, but you circumvented the process. So 6,000, far from the truth. Vote Velas Arrow, number 4.
Thank you.
something.
Dr. Regster?
No, I believe
Oh, okay, I'm
candidate
sorry.
Picard would like to speak.
I'm
Yes?
so sorry.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen very closely and listen and pay attention as it pertains to the numbers that are being flown across back and forth. So you have the governor here blaming Mrs. Vialet, and it goes back and forth. At the beginning and the end of the day, this is what's going on. There is absolutely, and there have absolutely been no accountability in this administration. $2 million just disappeared like Houdini and Wapa. $4 million disappeared from Juan Louis Hospital. And the list goes on. There's no accountability. Where is money? Where did money go? What bank was the money sitting in and to develop interest? In the Picard-Turnbull administration, we will conduct a forensic audit to stop the misappropriation of public funds. Now, that's something you can be guaranteed with in the Picard-Turnbull administration. Number 2 on your ballot. And do I have 15 seconds more to go? Outstanding. So our main thing is just to make sure that your money's not lost. Our thing is to make sure your money's not stolen by the very elected officials that elect you in office. And it's pretty much out there.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Agster.
Thank you. Well, we have another question on good government. Thank you for your answers. This one we will start with Mr. Picard, candidate Picard. And the question, the background statement says that the U.S. Virgin Islands is an unincorporated territory, which all of us should know. And it is important to ensure the people of the Virgin Islands are represented in discussions with Congress and the executive branch, since we are outside of a number of decision-making processes. As governor, how do you plan to ensure that the challenges and voices of Virgin Islanders are present and accounted for in decisions and actions made by Congress and the President of the United States?
So the one thing, is this microphone really, could you guys hear me? Okay, there we go. I was too close, too far. So here's the thing. The biggest problem here is our citizens want to know what's going on. We're all about transparency, right? And the problem is that we don't know what's going on behind closed door until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning a bill is passed. And next thing you know, it's enacted into law. As governor, my main thing is to make sure, as it pertains to communication, that we communicate with the people of the Virgin Islands at every step of the way. I don't want in the Picard-Turnbull administration to be a doubt as it pertains to transparency of what's going on and where's the money and what's going on with the insurance. It's our job also to work with delegate of Congress. So we all know the delegate of Congress basically is our mouthpiece as it pertains to Congress. And this administration, and even the past administration, I have not seen that many times where governors and senators actually have a rapport relationship with delegate of Congress to try to see if we can get more things done in Congress so that we could be represented up there in the White House. And that's a problem. To be honest with you, in the Picard-Turnbull administration, we make sure that everyone is on a balanced level. They cannot be any animosity towards each other. As a governor, as senators, as delegate of Congress, we can't have animosity towards each other. We must fight for the people of the Virgin Islands, and in order to do that, we must live a balanced life. This is Ronald Picard, Picard-Turnbull administration, number 2 on your ballot.
Thank you, candidate Picard. Candidate Vele, would you please answer what you would do as governor? How would you plan to ensure that the challenges and voices of Virgin Islanders are present when we speak with the Congress and the President?
First, we need to pass the convene the sixth Constitutional Convention, and we need to have a constitution that is voted on by the people of the Virgin Islands and passed by the Virgin Islands and sent to Congress for ratification. We need to continue that path for self-determination. We need to lobby, lobby, lobby. Despite the fact that we're American citizens, we still don't have the right that every American citizen is afforded. Our Medicaid, way that it is structured and reimbursed to the people of the Virgin Islands is like no other state. It is the lowest in the nation. SSI benefits, our rum cover over that we're now struggling with because we calculated the rum cover over 1325 and we only got back 1050. So we must lobby, I would believe that we need to change the individuals that we have in Washington who are lobbying on behalf of the Virgin Islands, because some of the issues that we are lobbying for, we have been lobbying for the last 30 years. So it is time for us to take a different approach. It is time for us to get some of the heavy hitters that are affiliated or linked with the President's team to be able to lobby for full inclusion of all rights for all Virgin Islanders. We are not second-class citizens, and we should not be treated as such. Vele Saro, number 4.
Thank you very much, Candidate Vele. Candidate Bryan, could you please answer the same question?
Thank you. The good news about this is I don't have to tell you what I'm going to do. I can tell you what I've done. The first word is Democrat. Well, I am a Democrat, and I've had the privilege to sit down with our President, Joe Biden, for over 2 hours in a one-on-one conversation, just chatting as a Democrat. I have a great relationship with Delegate Plaskett. We have a Washington representative in Terry Helenese, and we also have a super team. Over the last 3.5 years, we've been able to finally get our earned income tax credit reimbursed, which has helped us to keep tax up to date. Over the last 2.5 years, we've also been able to attract $1.57 billion for 87,000 people, probably the highest per capita in the United States. Being included in every single benefit that every mainland American got was because we have that working team and the 4 people working from our office, working with the delegate and our lobbyists, all working together, unified. When we want to speak to the White House, we go into the White House and we speak to the President. We have a representative there, Mr. Rita, that we talk to all the time. Even in what I have to say to you is we are welcomed into Congress and into the state, into the Senate, because we are Democrats. We have those relationships and a legacy of that from Donna Christian to Stacey Plaskett and right now to me. We don't have to talk about building relationship. We already have those. We want to continue with that, bringing home the bacon for this territory.
Thank you. Candidate Picard, would you like to rebut? You have 60 seconds.
Yes, ma'am. Here's the problem. The governor's talking the fact that he's a Democrat. And that's the biggest problem that's been going on for years. It is not about being a member of the Democratic Party. It's not about being a member of the Republican Party. It's about being a Virgin Islander. When Picard Turnbull administration, when we win this campaign, that means everybody wins this campaign. It's time that we put these political parties to an end. It is clear and evidence the results of being a Democrat. Look at the state of emergency we're in right now, but he hasn't even declared it. COVID-19 was a perfect time to declare a state of emergency as it pertains to health care. So many people was dying, yet he didn't declare it. Gun violence have taken the lives of more people than COVID. Guys, with me, it's clear. I'm not about a political affiliation. I don't owe anybody anything as it pertains to campaigns. Only thing I owe people to is the people of the Virgin Islands to do the job right. Put Democrats to the side, Mr. Bryan, and put the people up front. The parties are over.
Thank you.
The days for us now.
Thank you, Candidate Picard. So, yes, please, go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much. We have a Democratic president, a Democratic Congress, a Democratic Senate, a Democratic governor, but we have not been able to change or stop the federal government from going back from 1325 with a rum cover over to 1050. It is included in Biden's bill. But a good governor, with all of his resources and his relationship, was not able to get that tax extender out of the Build Back Better bill and place into the Inflation Act so that we could be reimbursed at the 1325. That is $60 million less that we're going to be getting into the coffers of the government of the Virgin Islands. And that is why legislation was sent recently to move monies from the rum cover fund that was already supposed to go to the retirement system and make it seem like they're going to get the full 158 when they actually added on monies that we presently have in our coffers. So it's just a big farce.
Reebok.
Thank you. Yes, please, Candidate Bryan, go ahead.
The Brian Roach administration is the most inclusive administration in the history of government. Let me tell you what. I'm the only one up here who's ever marched in a pride parade, and that's before and after I was governor. I'm the only governor to ever have an imam pray at Government House for swearing in of a cabinet member. I'm the only governor to have over 25 denominations come in and pray for COVID, respecting others' faith. We are inclusive. We're not governor of part of the people, Democrats or Republicans or the people from Dung Island or the people from here. We're governor and lieutenant governor of all the people. And that can be seen in our administration. When you talk about the rum cover over, you continue to frighten the people with nonsense. The truth of it is because of our relationships in Washington, we have over $400 million to spend until 2026, which insulates us against a pending American recession or anything that happens. They want us to spend all the money now like a drunken sailor. But I know times are coming and going to be hard, and we're going to need that cash.
Thank you.
Okay, the next few questions are on health. All Virgin Islanders should have access to health care throughout the course of their lives, without regard to their health status, wealth, or location. Senator Vialet, first, you will answer the question first. What social and economic policies would you propose to ensure health access and affordability for all Virgin Islanders, especially older Virgin Islanders?
It is one of the most troubling areas right now in the Virgin Islands, the ability, and across the nation, the ability for all individuals to have quality health care or access to quality health care. But definitely, Obamacare that was passed years ago, the Virgin Islands was once again omitted. This is one of the areas in which we were not included. We have to petition Congress to include the Virgin Islands in all of the provisions of Obamacare. We are American citizens, and there's no reason why we should have been excluded. We also have an issue in the Virgin Islands where we have a number of entrepreneurs that don't pay into Social Security, they get older, and then they don't have access to Medicare. We need to have education programs that would allow everybody to understand the benefits of paying Social Security and the benefits of being able to get Medicare when you reach a certain age. We must be able to beef up our hospitals to be able to provide service for those individuals who don't have any type of insurance and becomes uncompensated care. But the monies that are given by the government of the Virgin Islands is to cover that uncompensated cost. So if we're able to get Obamacare, we're able to get more individuals on Medicare, we'll definitely have the availability to be able to treat more individuals, utilizing those monies that are given to the hospital for uncompensated care. And it's important for us to try to get a company in that will be able to provide affordable health care to those residents who are able to purchase it.
Thank you. Candidate Bryan, same question, please.
So while others have talked about the problem, we have proposed solutions. The Brian Roach administration introduced associative health care plans to the Virgin Islands. This is a way that small businesses can get health care by getting in with an association like the Chamber of Commerce or a guild or a union. For the first time, small businesses have now the option of getting health care. We've also saved the Medicaid expansion system. Over 35,000 people now depend on Medicaid in the Virgin Islands. Not once, but twice we went to Congress in order to get the extension that covers so many people in need for the Virgin Islands. Over the last 3.5 years, we spent over $100 million extra in healthcare, making sure that every single Virgin Islander got healthcare. the veterans. We went to the Veterans Administration, and now there's actually a plane that comes to the St. Thomas and St. Croix and picks up our veterans and takes them to the veteran hospital before. We introduced single-payer health care in the Virgin Islands. Now we have a company that before you couldn't get health insurance as a single player, now we have that. The Lieutenant Governor has been working, and we're soon to introduce another company into the Virgin Islands where small businesses will be able to get health care. Let me not forget, the Medicaid Expansion and Advantage program offered by United Healthcare that was introduced in the Brian Roach administration now allows for 6,000 of our seniors to get hearing aid supplements, to go to the emergency without paying $1, and stay in the hospital without paying $1.
Thank you. And Candidate Picard, please.
Yes, ma'am. There is a thing. You have the public sector and you have the private sector. The private sector, based on my investigation for several business owners, I've noticed one thing: a lot of the employees, they complain of the fact that they have absolutely no health care. There's no health care provided for these employees. Now, as it pertains to the public sector, now, of course, majority of people, if not all, they're on the Cigna. The biggest problem that was happening here in the Virgin Islands is retention. A lot of our seniors, as they get old to that capacity level, as they're aging, they leave the island. They leave the island because they know for a fact they're not given proper health care. They know the infrastructures pertaining to our medical buildings is not up to par. They know we don't have the equipment to take care of them, nor the staff, or nor the specialists. So a lot of our local Virgin Islands are leaving islands. Our job at Picard Terminal Administration is to try to keep that retention, keep them here, to give them health care, to make it affordable. But in order to do that, these programs that he's talking about has to do with money. If you don't have money to implement these programs, they're going absolutely nowhere. And what I mean by that, when you have misappropriation of public funds, when money disappear in the millions, and these programs are not completed based on the fact that they cannot find $4 million that was taken away or rather disappeared from one Louis hospital, it's a problem. So in order for us to get the money and retain that money, we have to put a cap on the leak in that bucket of money that's disappearing. We must conduct a forensic audit to stop misappropriation of public funds.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry.
Any rebuttal?
Yes.
Senator Ville?
Thank you so much. I would really like to know what are the numbers for those programs that were created under the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. How many individuals have actually signed up for those programs? Is it cost effective? So we can make a determination as to whether or not that is working. I know what we have now is access to presumptive eligibility, where somebody that goes to the hospital and don't have insurance can sign up for presumptive eligibility and be able to receive Medicaid. The bad thing is that within 30 days, they got to complete the application, go to Human Services, complete the job. It is not getting done. So you have presumptive eligibility. They call it for 30 days. Human Services is supposed to follow up to make sure that person become a permanent Medicaid member. There's no follow-up by Human Services. So it becomes a serious issue. VLS, arrow number 4.
Thank you.
Right.
Commissioner Bryan?
No, I think
we were
Yeah, just,
Picard asked
not
it.
really, but just one thing is actually.
Oh, sure.
While speaking to the people here in St. Thomas, I noticed something. There's a place called Cruz Bay. I spoke to a lot of residents. Up there you see mostly Latinos and those of Haitian descent, or rather French descent. And a lot of problem they're facing here, especially in St. Thomas, is that when they go for medical services or medical programs, there is nobody there, there's no bilingual, or rather trilingual person in the department to translate for them or to explain to them the situation or the programs or the programs that's out there for them. And that's something I noticed it. So one thing for sure we plan to do, Picard Terminal Administration, is make sure we have as many bilingual people in these departments so that every single person in the Virgin Islands, regardless where they come from, can understand the services provided for them.
So,
Picard.
So I'll give it to Brian.
okay,
Yeah, Sarah.
so
Yes, right.
I love sharing good news. So it's not a money problem. We have the money. During COVID, we actually were sending people for house visits. Our seniors didn't have to go anywhere. People who were sick didn't have to go anywhere. We actually were dispatching ambulances to give people the life-saving antidote that allows you to get healed quicker. We also want to remind the good senator and the candidate that over the last 3 years, the government insurance has raised 3 times. The government of the Virgin Islands picked up the bill for that. We did not pass it on to our people who get it because we know so many people depend on that Cigna insurance. Guess what? Cigna is interested in building healthcare centers here. But I'm not interested in building them only for the Cigna recipients, but for everybody. My vision is that we'll have a managed healthcare system where everybody would give $50 to $100 every payday that would go to the hospital, and that would cover you for your prescriptions, for your basic care, and would take away this unfunded mandate, unfunded bill that we have to the hospital of over $30 million every year.
Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Reichster, your turn.
Yes. Well, we're going to start the rotation again, so we start back with candidate Brian, but we're still talking about health. And I remind everyone that we have a community that has over 45% of the people are over 55 years old. Therefore, when I remind everyone that the mental well-being of older populations includes increasing and improving services for those with cognitive and/or behavioral health conditions. The question would be to the next governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands, as governor, how will you fund programs to meet the cognitive and behavioral health needs for older Virgin Islanders? Please also share your plan or plans to understand the magnitude and details of the problem in the territory and to ensure how the program that you put in place will be effective. So we want to know, how will you fund the programs to meet these issues, and how will you figure out how many people you have to serve and whether or not your plans work?
So the problem with mental health in our territory is very serious. We see it manifest itself in the homeless people that we see every day on the streets. That is the tip of the problem. You can see mental health problems all the way down to the young people that are fighting in the schools. How we're going to fund it is the easy thing. Through our America Reinvestment Program funds, we do have the funds to provide mental health, which we're using those funds already to give people services. The problem is we need personnel. People in the territory who are trained in giving this kind of service to individuals. The other part is the stigma. People recognizing that they're suffering from a mental health and being able to come in for us to address that. My grandmother died in an asylum, and several members of my family suffer from mental health. So I know how serious this is. But it is a daunting problem that is really about organization of skills with people, not the money. It used to be the problem with the money. So in our hospitals, we have a new healthcare wing for mental health. Our new prisons that we're building, they have a mental health for the criminally insane, and we're building 2 skilled nursing facilities that will also be able to address mental health needs. In the meantime, we've expanded Idris Shulderman and fixed the annex, and now we're fixing the main part to make sure that we address mental health illness in the territory. But our work is not done there. We still have to go into the schools and into the workplaces where people are exhibiting this type of behavior, but are too afraid and too ashamed to ask for help.
Thank you. Candidate Picard, again, how would you fund programs to meet cognitive and behavioral health issues?
There are programs out there, and every administration is given to you. It's not the money, in fact, where can we find the funding? It's a matter of making sure that money that's allotted for that department goes to the department and stays to that department. I'd like to elaborate on what Mr. Governor was saying, Mr. Bryan, was saying earlier. In order to have these programs implemented into buildings where people can go and seek medical treatment, you have to have a building. We have more abandoned government buildings in the Virgin Islands than residents have buildings here. Yet all we do is rent, rent, rent. My thing is to get several abandoned buildings that we own. Praying case is an example. A lot of situation with mental health, what Mr. Bryan was talking about earlier. That is a serious factor here in the Virgin Islands. My thing is to get a building that we own as a government, renovate that building and use that building for its purposes just for mental health, where we would automatically reduce the line wait at your regular hospital, Waialua Hospital. Right now, that's another situation. Look at Waialua. How long has this been going on? The problem here that the people do not want to hear is that we're building this, we're about to build that, we're almost finished. Nothing has been finished so far in this administration as it pertains to infrastructure of buildings. The people want things to be completed. In the Picard administration, we're making sure that these contractors meet their actual ending date, their target date, and stick to it. Mrs. Picard, Turnbull, number 2 on your ballot.
Thank you. Candidate Vele, how would you fund programs for cognitive and behavioral health issues and concerns for older citizens?
We're definitely generating enough revenues to be able to fund the program. It's just to create the program. Getting old in the Virgin Islands is difficult, especially when you reach to the point that you can't drive anymore. It becomes very difficult because a lot of times you're just home by yourself. We need to create adult daycare centers. We need to expand the number of senior centers that we have. We need to be able to develop recreational activities for the older individuals who reside in the Virgin Islands. A lot of our senior population, they're just bored and they're lonely. And they exhibit a lot of issues because a lot have some deep-rooted issues, the loss of a child and not being able to deal with it. So we also need to provide wraparound services for our senior community who have gone through some type of traumatic experience. Our seniors are lonely. I have a 93-year-old dad, and he's home, and I always am happy when somebody drops by and try to make sure that somebody goes there on a regular basis. I go there, and I just stay an hour or two every single day to make sure that he has some type of entertainment, some type of dialogue. I purchase stuff for him to keep his brain going, puzzles, so that he could do stuff. But we need to engage our senior community because they're staying home by themselves, and we need to do a better job. Through the Division of Human Services, we can be creative as to how we're going to be able to engage the population on a more regular basis, maybe twice a week, to make sure that they have some type of stimulation. But we got to engage our senior population.
Thank you.
Anybody? One thing.
Let me allow Candidate Bryan and then you, Candidate Pickard.
I wholeheartedly agree with Senator VLA. And speaking to our seniors, they told me the same thing. And that's why we started Our Best Life. It's a $1 million program that gets seniors out operating at our Fit Lot in Christiansted, in Emancipation Garden in St. Thomas, and also in St. John. This is a big part of what we do. The other thing is the Charles Howard complex that we're building now. It's about to be demolished, and then we have a $175 million building, of which will have a separate entrance to address people with mental health needs. I also want to address that we're already helping people through our partners in the private sector and in nonprofits. Mission Outreach, we just gave $140,000, 10,000 helpers, we gave them 30,000. Women's Coalition. All these are partners that are helping us to get out there. Over $1.5 million to each community foundation in order to make sure that we're touching people and creating it. You could talk about our financial literacy program with the AARP that we did in order to touch seniors and give them something to do.
Thank you. Candidate Picard, you wanted to rebut? Please go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, you do not have to be an elected official to make a positive impact in the community you live in. Brian Kate's an example. I am the CEO and founder of Adopt an Inmate. And every year annually, what we do is we pick a different senior citizen home. And we donate over 140 pillows to senior citizens. But that's not the thing. The beauty about that is that we have a pastor or night and bless every pillow before giving it to the senior citizen. There's a young lady, and I say young lady, she was about perhaps 92 years old. She had a pillow for 12 years. And when she brought me that pillow, I thought it was just a regular sheet that she was giving me, or a pillowcase. And she said, "Can I have another pillow?" She said, "This is my original pillow." And I said, "Ma'am, does family member come and visit you?" No. So I gave her 4 pillows. But it's a shame to see that she, at that age, has not been given the visitation that she needed. I thank God that we do this, and we do this every year, and we're going to do it again this year.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Candidate Vele, please go ahead.
About 4 years ago, I think it is, we funded monies to reopen Anna's Hope and create a mental health center at the Anna's Hope property. We funded that project to the tune of $3 million, and to date, those monies have not been spent. We then went and purchased a behavioral health van. We put it in the budget to purchase a behavioral health van, and the idea was that we're going to carry the service to the neighborhoods where those individuals are located, because somebody that is mentally ill, you stabilize them, and then they forget to come for the shot the next month. We were able to purchase a van. The van is sitting in the parking lot at Charles Howard and sitting in the parking lot here. We funded positions to be able to staff the van in the last budget cycle, and we have funded positions in this budget cycle again so that we can take the service to the people and not wait for them to come to us. A clubhouse was open on St. Croix for the mentally ill. The clubhouse is closed. I don't know the last time one person has been in that clubhouse. Since COVID, it has been closed.
Thank you. Ms. Ellis, I think we're going to continue this discussion with one more question on health, yes?
That's right. Healthcare in the territory has been challenged for years, and currently there's hope for the future, but new facilities are projected to be 5 years away. How will you continue the recovery process to ensure that we are better able to meet the future extreme weather events and other challenges to the healthcare system? Candidate Picard, would you like to start?
Yes, ma'am. When we talk about projects, we're talking about beginning date and we're talking about ending date. But the problem is that the government has never sanctioned contractors for late payment, or rather for late finance. My thing is at 12:01 midnight, 1 minute past 12, if the contract is not completed, we will financially sanction that contractor. We do not have time to waste here in the Virgin Islands as pertains to having a structure. We don't. But so many games are being played by contractors. It's something called unforeseen situation, or it's called a change order. A prime case example of that is the Juan Louis North Hospital. That started off at $8 million. Now we're up to what, Mr. Brian? 100 and change $million, and no one's being sanctioned for this. But this time, while this is going on, the people of the Virgin Islands, the potential patients of the Virgin Islands are the ones suffering. When it comes to buildings, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we're so back, the reason why jobs isn't done, the reason why the infrastructure is not completed, because they're playing games with these contractors just so they can sit down and milk the government for more and more money. That will not be the case in the Picard Turnbull administration. We will get these projects completed. This is Picard and Turnbull, number 2 on your ballot.
Candidate Violet?
We have a unique opportunity to really build back our hospitals and our schools. It's a unique opportunity because we've been given the okay by the federal government for the hospital to be funded at 100%. So we're not fixing Juan Louis or fixing Snyder or fixing Marquette. We have the opportunity to really be able to build back these facilities brand new. That gives us an opportunity to redesign exactly what is going to be in those hospitals. We have the chance now to bring back a mental health ward at the St. Croix Hospital and to expand it at the St. Thomas Hospital. We have the opportunity to be able to design state-of-the-art operating rooms and everything else. But we got to get it going. And we got to get it going by being able to move into GFL North once and for all. It's deplorable conditions at Juan Louis Hospital. The nurses literally told the CEO in a meeting yesterday that if it is not done in 30 days, a number of them are going to walk. We need GFL North to be able to open so that we can begin the process of demolishing Juan Louis Hospital and getting ready for the rebuild. As a senator, I have passed legislation to be able to provide access to the lands behind Juan Louis so that when they're demolishing, they would have a parking lot and all of the other facilities. We need to move on Myra Keaton as quick as possible because the people of St. John had limited services before and it's worse now. So we got to make a decision as to how we're going to provide for the people of St. John and exactly where the facility would be built on St. John.
Okay, thank you. And now, Governor Bryan?
Thank you, Senator VLA, for that, because all those things he said are happening. What I'd like to say is, what do you do in the meantime? Number one, we funded a new nonprofit dialysis center in St. Croix, so we wouldn't have to move our dialysis patients back to the States again. I authorized for 2 new urgent care centers so that you would ease the burden on the emergency room. People going in for coughs, flus, small sprains, and those kind of things can be addressed outside of our hospital. We've been proactive by getting the Virgin Islands Diabetes Excellence Center for Excellence. We already had a health fair that expected 150 people. Over 400 people came the first day. Everything from eye exams to foot exams. Those vans will be going out, giving people education. We are going to open JFL North, but I would rather be talked about every day on the radio than to open a facility where our people could be jeopardizing their lives. We have to get the medical gas done. We have to get the water done. We've authorized $10 million for each hospital. That's just the first tranche. In order to get nurses recruited, we just give them the retention bonuses, hoping that they would stay and that they would bring on new ones. We have the home care initiative. Now we're taking the medical care, like I talk about, right to our seniors in the home so they don't have to go out. We also have active preventative care, keeping our seniors healthy, active, out into the community, their minds and bodies growing all the time. Those are the kinds of things that we're going to do. And what we did is we put out all of the drawings already. All of those institutions are already being crafted and are almost done.
Thank you. Thank you. Rebuttals?
Yes.
I'd just like to see some of these projects actually completed. You know, I mean, the government's been talking about projects being completed for all 3 years and 10 months, and nothing's being done. I mean, it sounds real fancy how he's talking, but in reality, at the beginning and the end of the day, when you leave here today and just take a look around, nothing's completed. We're talking 3 years and 10 months. And this is so blatantly obvious in the eyes of the people in the Virgin Islands. I don't care what island you go to. These buildings and structures and so-called plans are supposed to be completed and it's guaranteed. We're working on it. It's just a gift of gab. But I'm here to tell you the gift of facts. The facts are, nothing has been completed here in this administration here. Nothing. And it's a shame. If you look outside, infrastructure is still the same. I almost run into a pothole just don't come in here, as a matter of fact. I don't really know St. Thomas that much. And it's a renty car. You know, hospitals still the same as Brittany's a health cup. Education is still the same. The list goes on. WAPA, GRS.
Okay, thank you. Senator Ville?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad the governor made mention of the diabetes outreach, a nonprofit, a newly formed nonprofit that was given $1.9 million. There was no request made as to who could provide that type of services. It was just a newly formed company that the governor gave a contract to. A $1 million contract for dialysis. We have a dialysis center in St. Croix and St. Thomas that is privately run. They receive $0. But you gave a $1 million contract to a company that is partnering with a multi-million-dollar company from the mainland. Is that a wise use of the money? You give $1.9 million when Frederiksted Health Center could have done the exact same job, and Frederiksted Health Center budget is only $2.3 million, and you give a nonprofit $1.9 million to diabetes outreach. They had 1 or 2 events for the $1.9 million thus far. I hope there's some type of accountability plan as to how those monies are going to be spent for this particular nonprofit.
Thank you. Mr. Bryan?
What is a shame is unresearched candidates. Because if you had researched, Mr. Picard, you would know that there are over 700 project worksheets that are already completed out of the 1,500 what we need to do. And if you pay attention, Mr. VLA has become a special purpose senator. Ask him about why he supports Mr. Garner and his special interest in that business. Ask him why he apportioned $4 million for a vendor in order to get paid, and why his campaign headquarters is in that same building. Ask him why he allowed for VIGL not to build the building downtown and try to defraud the people of the Virgin Islands for special interest. Ask him why that he passed special legislation in order to have a cane field in the middle of Frederiksted. Ask him why he took $2.5 million from the legislature, from the hospital, JFL that he talks about today, and took it and built a palace of a legislature while the hospital rot. And while he took those people out of Frederiksted, why every business now is dead. Ask VLA why he's a special interest senator.
Thank you. And now let's shift to financial matters. Dr.
Yes,
Agster?
yes. We've heard lots about health. Now we're going to talk about financial issues, and we have one big question. And we're going to start out with you, candidate Ville. In these inflationary times, what plan do you have to address our economy under this level of insecurity to help ensure Virgin Islanders are able to keep more of their hard-earned money in their pockets?
Thank you, and that's a good question. And we have already started our process by supplementing the health insurance. And for the governor information, it's not 3 years. It's been about 5 years that we've been supplementing Cigna insurance to make sure that we don't pass that cost on to the people of the Virgin Islands. Once again, we have a unique opportunity because we received $547 million to the general coffers of this government to be utilized over a 4 or 5 year period that can soften the impact of any of these tough times that might occur, to include inflation. But it's important, that we look at the overall budget, and we have looked at it, and we have tried our best to make sure that we're conservative so that the government doesn't project to spend more than it's collecting in revenue. There's a unique opportunity now for us to be able to expand the base of the Virgin Islands because of what is taking place in the world, the war in Ukraine, the pandemic that recently took place, and the desire of the United States of America to bring back manufacturing to the United States. Is an opportunity for us to be able to go out and market the Virgin Islands, to bring some of those companies here so that we can expand the tax base that we presently have. And I will close by saying, in reference to the $4 million dollars that were paid, that was paid through a court order settlement. But you called from Government House and wanted to give $10 million to a special interest company on the island of St. Croix, and I literally said no, and we lowered the amount drastically.
Thank you. All right. We'll continue the conversation, asking you the same question, Candidate Bryan.
The senator says that he pressed a conservative budget. If you go and check the budget for this year, it's $26 million more than we submitted. How is that conservative? How are we preparing for the future? With free broadband everywhere, 5 megabit service so everybody can get online, do business, get education, get information. We're also providing for free education at the university, making sure that that continues and every student gets that. We have our young people in our financial fellows program. They earn $55,000 coming right out of school, making sure they stay here in the Virgin Islands. We're now offering free trade school, and we have over $10 million in apprenticeships through ICF that almost 400 people have already taken advantage of. That $10 million is there to help us expand in our marine sector, which we have seen exploded with our charter businesses. We're investing in our docks by redoing our actual fish ramps so that our fishers can get out. We've opened up the licensing system, so now people who couldn't fish for 20 years now have licenses. We fixed the fish market. Over 15 years it's been down. It is now up. We have made sure that there is a new business that Virgin Islands exclusively can take advantage of. But this senator's running mate has been holding the cannabis bill in the legislature for 3 years, claiming that she has a piece of legislation that no one has seen. While ago, she took out the restitution for people who were made offenses by cannabis laws and been imprisoned unjustly. And she's holding and stalling Virgin Islanders' opportunity to pursue a business that no one from the states can invade in.
Thank you. All right. Candidate Picard?
The governor is talking so much about his running mate, I actually forgot the original question.
I will repeat the question. The question is that in these inflationary times, what plan do you have to address our economy under this level of insecurity?
Well, here's the thing. You have to ask yourself one question. How many millions of dollars has been sent back up to the federal government because Mr. Bryan was unable to have that money abstracted here through grant writers? Millions. So if we ask the federal government for $10 million and we only spend $5 million, there will be a joke in the eyes of the federal government when we ask for more money. So if we ask for $10 million more, he said, no, we'll just give you 5. Obviously, you're not spending it. In the Picard administration, we're going to make sure we have the staff members there, professionals, that knows how to abstract that money, retain that money, and keep that money here in the Virgin Islands to be spent, not to be sent back to the United States in the amount of millions and millions of dollars. The cost of living is so high. Everything is going up except for minimum wages. Isn't that a problem? Now, our thing is to communicate with the people of the Virgin Islands about the different programs that we're going to have to help all people here in the Virgin Islands. Prime case example, the EDA is a secondary lending source. We have so many entrepreneurs here in the Virgin Islands, but they're not given a chance because the EDA only deals with collateral loans. Our thing is to open back up the loans for EDA and make it non-collateral loans so that all Virgin Islanders who want to become an entrepreneur can have a chance to be successful in life, thus raising the economy and helping the people in the Virgin Islands. This is Ronald Picard, number 2 on your ballot.
Well, gentlemen, we'll ask if anybody wants to rebut. Candidate Vele, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. The fish market was open and closed a couple months after and remained closed for a long period of time. I don't even think it's open right now. The medicinal marijuana bill was the first bill signed by this governor. 3 years and 10 months after, no dispensary. When he's asked the question, he said, medical marijuana don't have any money in it. I want recreation. Refused to realize that the medical marijuana legislation was passed for those individuals who have chronic pain. But he ignored that. He said, I'm not worried about them. I want legalization, but I want legalization with some special interests included. I want an app created that's going to go to a certain individual. I want that's created that's going to go to a certain individual, but not in the best interest of this territory. And the biggest special interest legislation is Southland Gaming. They own you. It's Southland Gaming. You killed horse racing in this territory for the last 3 years and 10 months. You're going to be the only governor that never presided over a governor's cup. You kill horse racing, but your special interest to our company.
Thank
So
you.
shame on you.
Yes, candidate
Yeah, first
Brian,
let me get
please.
to the real thing where they asked the question about. Construction is clearly going to be our way for at least 10 years. There's an $11 billion rebuild. At best, we could put $700 million in our economy a year. It's going to take at least 7 years to get that, 10 years to get that money spilled. This is a $4 billion economy. Only $4 billion. Income taxes are up 30%. Mr. Picard, you should do your research. Family individual income is up $4,000 per household since I'm governor. We have new hotels coming on in the Reef, Sugar Bay, Morning Star, Key, and Hibiscus. As far as medical marijuana, Mr. VLA, there is no money for it. Furthermore, it robs our native people of a chance. You only have to live here 5 years in order to get into that business, and you won't be able to get into the cannabis business. As I've told him, he knows whether or not is 5 years, 10 years, he's not going to vote for it because he's against marijuana, period. So what I want to tell you today is now we have a chance to seize this business and make it whole. I told him and the rest of the legislature and his running mate already, we already have a cannabis industry. We just don't get any money from it.
Thank you. Ms. Ellis, I believe we are moving on to the next question.
Yes, we are, and let's shift a little bit over to retirement plans for Virgin Islanders. In a recent survey, Virgin Islanders 50 years and older, 88% supported the creation of a retirement savings program for VI workers. These workers, many of whom are employed by small businesses, do not have 401ks or other ways to save for retirement. Please tell us what you would do to ensure that all workers have a chance at a secure retirement. How do you see the successful implementation of the AARP Work and Save proposed plan fitting into your approach? Candidate Brian, please.
Thank you for that. I could tell you personally that the biggest thing for any person is rent. We have a $1 billion program in order to redo all of our housing. Almost 30 to 40% of that housing is single family housing for seniors because we have that problem. How are we going to get there and get seniors? We have the CSEP program. We are now expanding that program with AARP dollars, being able to pay seniors more and also being able to serve more seniors. We also have, for the non-government retirees, it's extremely hard. The things that we're trying to do is lower the basic costs, housing, rent, and energy. So what we're doing now is we have a $25 million plan to get off the grid so that you can stabilize your housing and you can pay that back, stabilize your light bill over 10 years. To be very honest with you, I have not read the AARP's plan or proposal. What's it called?
The AARP Work and Save program.
Right, but we're doing all kinds of incentives to help people pay. The other things that I'm proposing is the reintroduction of the GRS lending program. That also helps our seniors to be able to meet their pocketbooks. And the other last piece I think of it is making sure that we give back as much money as possible. Over the next 2 weeks, Virgin Islanders will be made aware of a program where we're giving every single person on Social Security a $500 check in order to help them with their inflation.
Thank you.
Cost of this time.
And Candidate Picard, how do you see retirement savings for Virgin Islanders?
So retirement as it pertains to GRS, so we're basically talking about. First thing first, before I actually go there, I wear many hats, and one of those is that in fact I'm a property manager. And the rental assistance program is a complete disaster. It's a disaster for the landlords because we don't get paid. Prime example, I have an actual case that I'm working on as a property manager where a young lady has not paid rent for over 11 months for the rental assistance program because it's so slow and it's so backed. So the only person benefits from rental assistance program is the actual tenants themselves, not the landlord. Of course, now, I'm a businessman, so I have to talk in a businessman aspect. As it pertains to GRS, history shows it. Nobody here can tell you different. GRS, we've had a systematic system of failures. You've never had a business-oriented governor. The reason why we're in such a deficit in GRS, and he did not save it, by the way, the mere fact once you owe money, you're still in a deficit. GRS was the #1 biggest loaning bank, although it wasn't a bank, it's for the employees. But we invested so much money, we took so much risks as governments, and gave loans, and these loans turned into default. And we're talking millions of dollars. Brian Case, Carambola, $40 million, turned around and sold it for $10 million. And those hotels that owed us in default, we turned around and sold it for $3 million, a waterfront deal. We must keep entities. My thing is to transfer from GRS into a 401k. I do not believe the government should be in control of your money, nor should invest in it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Candidate Ville, what do you see about secure retirement for all workers?
What is very, very, very hard to achieve. All across America, you see older Americans working in Walmart, working in Wendy's and McDonald's because they didn't have a retirement plan. Defined contribution plans literally run out after a certain amount of years. You put money into it, the 401, and after 6 or 7 years, it's easy to lose that. So, but we needed the 401. We need companies that make a certain amount of monies to be mandated that they create 401 plans for the employees that work for them. We must have that. We have to make sure that all of the individuals who are entrepreneurs, et cetera, that they pay into Social Security, because we're having a number of individuals who are now 65, 67. They were a plumber, a mason. They never paid no money into Social Security for all their life, and now they don't receive a Social Security check. We need to be able to educate them from a young age as to the importance of making these payments so they can have some level of financial security when they become older. GRS, we still have a lot of work to do. The system isn't solvent. Everybody knows that. Mr. Nibs came and he said the system isn't solvent. There's still work to do. We still bring in other measures that's going to help the retirement system to be able to survive. But what we have done is we have stopped the bleeding. And we have stopped the bleeding for a number of years, that it gave us now the opportunity to go back and continue to work on mechanisms that will be able to once and for all get the system to become solvent. And when the system goes to all tier 2, that is when it becomes solvent.
Thank you. And Governor Bryant, do you have a rebuttal?
Mr. VLA is the most disingenuous person I have met in a long time. I've lost so much respect for him.
Thank you.
When we were at Government House and we asked him, we said, ask the senators, now we need to do the other things to make the system even stronger. They refused. They said, no, we didn't want to do it. He led the pack. And now he's here saying that the system is insolvent. The system is solvent. I don't think that most people understand how the GRS is structured. We've actually created a debt that the government of the Virgin Islands owes to the GRS. We pay the debt into the GRS. It's our debt. So the GRS has a funding stream that makes it solvent. It's the same as if they had $6 billion invested somewhere that they projected would be $12 billion in the future. It's the same principle. So for him to sit here today and tell you that it isn't safe, after he's on the radio every day telling people he saved the GRS, is so disingenuous, because he knows that the team of people that we got together with are financial analysts. He even claims he wrote the budget. The budget is 2,000 pages. Mr. VLA himself wrote it. Come on. It takes a whole team of people to come up with these pieces of legislation. And we know the truth. So tell the people the truth. You were right there. You have the document where you crossed off Albert Bryan's name and you put Court VLA right there. We could show the public. You didn't write anything. You're a good editor. But editors are not authors. There's a difference, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. And Senator Ville, or I'm sorry, Mr. Picard.
Okay. If I may just be a little referee between these two gentlemen, I'd like to just say something. As it pertains to GRS, in the Picard administration, we believe in promoting from within. There's a blessing for that, right? For those employees that have worked for 20 years to 30 years, we do not really believe that much in exempt employees. Whenever you hire an exempt employee in an administration, you've just knocked out the chance for a paid union worker. And in this administration, unfortunately, we've had so many exempt positions here that the regular union classified worker, they can't even benefit at the time for retirement. We're trying to avoid that. We want to make sure when you do retire, you do get the money that you deserve. You do get the position that you actually deserve, that you work for, come retirement, rather than have to fight against an exempt employee. And that's something we try and we will avoid in the Picard terminal administration. Number 2 in your ballot, support the union workers.
Thank you. And Mr. Viele?
There's a big difference between misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is you just made a mistake. Disinformation is saying the same thing over and over and over and hoping that people believe it. You need to look at reality. My comments on the government employee retirement system came from Mr. Nibbs and the board itself, who presented to us and looked at the numbers and based on the 1050 clearly said that we're going to have some difficult years, 6, 7 years from now. That is what they projected. That is what they projected. The 3 bills that you sent down, there was no reference of retirement in any of those bills. We gave you access to an additional $40 million in ROMCOV overfund because we said this is what we need to put more money into the system. You had a refinancing bill. And we still have a refinancing bill, but it goes directly to the government employee retirement system by creating a restricted account. You need to tell them what the other conversations were in government house, to cut annuities, that's the only way to save it, and Court Vela said no.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And
Right? So that's it, yes. So we are going to shift a little bit. Thank you. Clearly, one of the things we're hearing is that it's really important for all of us to get as much information as possible. We want to talk about whether or not where we live is livable. So the next question goes to candidate Picard.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm asking, first of all, I remind you that our population is living longer in a system that is inadequate to actually handle all that the different people need. So what would you do to bring immediate attention to long-term care issues?
Well, like I said, it brings me back to retention. You asked where we live in, is it a livable place to live? Is that correct? So we are livable, but is the condition livable? Is it what we want? It's not. Healthcare is not what it's supposed to be. And as you get older, you start to get nervous, you start to get scared the minute you have a cough or two, and there's no facility to assist you with your medical conditions. And the first thing you do is take a flight to go towards the United States for proper health care, right? My thing is to make sure you're comfortable. My main thing is to make sure I tackle health care, to let you know that you're living in a comfortable environment, in a community, and in a health care. But in order for me to do that, we must first tackle the infrastructure. Infrastructure is a must. Once the infrastructure is tackled, and that goes back to the contracts for these jobs and these projects, that's still not completed. So once we get the infrastructure completed, then we plan to make sure we get the staff members filled. Make sure we have the proper equipment. Also, like I said earlier, as it pertains to the cost of living, it's so high. We have to either bring it down or bring up the minimum wages. I don't have much time left. I wanted to talk about something as it pertains to the vaccination segregation. That's the reason why the population has decreased over 28% since COVID. When you have a local Virgin Islanders who's gone back to the United States because of the vaccination crisis, how do we compete against the United States and their amenities that bring them back home to the Virgin Islands? What do we have to offer them?
Thank you. There will be opportunities for a closing statement, so you might want to talk about that some more then. But I need to ask candidate Vele, please, to talk about what would you do to bring immediate attention to long-term care issues?
We need more living-assisted facilities immediately, and we need to partner with private establishments to create living-assisted facilities. We need to have an extensive amount of individuals in Department of Human Services that provide home health care. We need to get a number of CNAs to be able to assist with individuals who are taking care of a loved one that is home, like help them to turn, to change, just to give them a bit of a relief. We need to have programs that assist caretakers. Caretakers are really mentally, emotionally, physically stressed, so we need to be able to take care of caretakers. We need access to medical equipment. On the island of St. Thomas, there's a medical equipment provider. They got to call Continuum Care in St. Croix to get equipment shipped over. So we should have a medical equipment provider on all of the islands, St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix, so that the individuals, if something happened to them, they could have access when they're coming out of the hospital. We need airlift between the islands. Right now, if you have mobility issues, it is literally impossible for you to travel between St. Thomas and St. Croix to come over here to be able to access service. Cape Air, the seaplane can't really take care of those individuals. We had Seaborn at the airport before that was able to, but we need to look at the specific areas that continuously limit the older population or seniors access to quality healthcare, access to a quality life, and we need to change our building codes from the onset, because you're going to get older at some point, that homes are accessible for seniors.
All right, thank you very much. Candidate Bryan, could you answer how you intend to bring immediate attention to long-term care moving forward?
Well, the first thing is that we're building 2 new skilled nursing centers. When we first looked at this, there was 2 requirements for me. At first, we were building 100-room facilities, and during COVID, we saw the cross-contamination of our senior homes because the nurses work in the regular hospital as well as part-time other places. So I downscaled it to 80 beds because we really don't have the nursing personnel and the medical personnel to staff assemblies that large. The other piece of that is while we have that, we need to partner with a private sector partner, which I mandated for the Department of Human Services, that once we get up to a point, we need to tell somebody we're going to build it, but they got to structure it. If we do it that way, then we'll be funded for Medicaid, so we can get a lot of the care that we give now that's reimbursable. Our hospitals have turned into long care facilities, and it costs us money to when people abandon their parents there, so this is going to ease that a little bit. And that's some of the things that we're doing. Like I said, expansion of assisted living facilities and expansion of independent living facilities. We need to rely on our partners. Lutheran Social Services has done a really good job of providing these types of products for our older individuals. A lot of us have parents that have dementia and have Alzheimer's. We really need to expand and give our continuum of care and those types of agencies more money in order to deal with them, because it's beyond the scope of the government.
Thank you. Now we have an opportunity to have a rebuttal if anyone wants. So, Candidate Picard?
Yes, ma'am. So we're talking about livable conditions, right? I have to go back to this. Since we're here in St. Thomas, there's a place called Vendas Plaza. Vendas Plaza is a bunch of young ladies, anyway from 58 years old or 65 years old and up. And they have been promised for 10 years, and most recently 2 weeks, that they're going to be giving catasacs, right, to make it livable. So they were told to move their products, and they were forced against the very wall by the fire department. And the Commissioner of Licensed Consumer promised them that they will bring the catasacs for them so they can build it to make it easier for them. Every single day, they have to put up their tents, take it down, they have to load their items, reload it, and stack it back in their vans. And we're talking about young ladies that's 68 years old and up. How much more time, how many more times must they be promised that it'll be addressed? And it's bad, because that's not a livable condition. That's not a comfortable position for these young ladies to work. Bills have to be paid. And up to this day, right now, it still hasn't been completed.
Thank you. We appreciate the points that you're bringing forward.
Yes.
Candidate Vele, would you like to rebut?
Yes,
Please go ahead.
I wanted to continue what I was saying. We need to address Alzheimer's and dementia. It is very hard for individuals to be able to take care of somebody full-time, and we need to design a program that would be able to assist caretakers who are taking care of an Alzheimer or a dementia patient. They got to go to work. If they go to work, sometimes they walk away and they have issues. We need to have a number of classes that are going to train individuals to become CNAs, not RN. Because live in an assisted facility, you could have one RN and 10 CNAs and be able to expand the number of individuals that you're able to house in a facility. But we need CNA programs, so we need to start those programs now so that we can have a large number of individuals that can assist with the elderly population, not only in the homes, but then you could establish a unit within Human Services where they would be able to go to the home and provide that service for the elder community. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Bryan, would you
No,
like to rebut this?
I want to rebut, but I have to agree with Senator Villalea. I think we agree on most things. They're not debatable. And we working together to find solution is really the cure. But, it's unfortunate for the last 4 years, all he did is block everything that we sent to the legislature in order to get things done for the people of the Virgin Islands. He knows that the first time we met with GRS, he was right in the room, he was very offended because I cuss out everybody and tell him we're not having a conversation about how broke the system is or cutting people benefit because nobody's willing to do that. So for him to say we were going to cut people 40% is ridiculous. He knows it and I knows it. I'm to the point now where I'm using stronger words than disingenuous. Finally, I don't know what's a cul-de-sac. What I do know is a kiosk. And I know that after 30 years of having a tent city in downtown St. Thomas, by the end of this year, we're going to have new kiosk in Vendors Plaza. I spoke to the lady you came with. She's a very nice lady. She promised her support. We're going to clear the parking lot and move the cars so we could have all of them stay there while they do the undergrounding for the electrical.
Thank you.
Is that a
But please, you'll have your time at the end. We're
Right.
trying to contain this not into a large argument.
Right.
We still need to ask the audience to please make sure that they, help us to handle the noise control in the room. So we have another question.
Right, we do. Another question on cost of living. Many Virgin Islanders can no longer afford to remain in the territory due to high costs of housing. If elected, Senator Villalea, what are your specific plans to increase affordable housing for seniors and for younger families?
I'll start with the younger families. I passed a First-Time Home Buyers Act. That is an act that allows individuals who are going to a loan and don't have sufficient funds for the down payment to be able to access money through the Housing Finance Authority to supplement the monies that they don't have for the down payment. For example, if somebody is purchasing a home for $400,000 at 20% down, they would have to put on $80,000. They don't have the money. The Housing Finance Authority will give it to them at the same interest rate that they would get at the bank. We got to increase the housing stock. We have a number of abandoned properties across the Virgin Islands that individuals have just walked away or they're in probate. Immediately establish a probate court within the first 6 months to deal with all of the outstanding probate issues, and then provide incentive for those homes to be renovated and back onto the market, and those homes that we're able to not get on the market that perhaps we'll be able to purchase under individual and sell it at cost to individuals who are trying to purchase homes. We need to make sure that the banks provide all the products that they provide in Puerto Rico, because we have Puerto Rican banks here, but all the products that are afforded to the people of Puerto Rico are not afforded to the people of the Virgin Islands. So to immediately have the Lieutenant Governor look into why those are not provided in the Virgin Islands and mandate that they are provided, and begin to attract additional companies to come to the Virgin Islands that would provide a really good interest rate and a lower down payment so that individuals could be able to purchase homes.
Thank you. Governor Bryan,
Oh,
what specific plans do you have?
Thank you. Things that we have already in progress. Within the week, we would announce a new program. It's actually an old program we live called the Cistern and Slab, where we're giving people actually a grant to build their cistern and a slab. These people who will be qualifying for this are not the common people who qualify for the VIHA loans. It will be administered through the Economic Development Authority. We're focusing on multifamily housing to lower the cost of rent and getting all those Airbnbs. Getting the hotels open will also help with the rent. We have $10 million to supplement the bill by the good senator of $4 million to make it $14 million. While that is a loan program for the down payment, we actually have a grant program with those $10 million. We also going to we can't get contractors to build houses every time we send out the RFP. It's coming in more. So what we're going to do, if you could build an 1,800 square foot house for less than $400,000, the government will guarantee we'll buy every one from you. through an agreement with the Housing Finance Authority, and then we'll buy down that house $100,000, and you'll have a loan for $300,000. In the meantime, we also have projects for land cut in Whispering Hills, Wild Pineapple, and as well as Bon Esperance. We are about to cut the roads and do all the infrastructure development in Coakley Bay and St. Croix. And we have been aggressively trying to purchase land in St. John. Land, I've spoken to like at least 30 developers, but every one of them keeps saying, you know, what's the government going to do? They're bringing money. And I told them, we have enough money. What we need is people to build homes.
Thank you. And Ms. Picard?
Yes, ma'am. So my thing is pretty much is to address the concern that all these abandoned buildings owned by residential owners. Majority of these buildings that's abandoned, the owners don't even reside in the Virgin Islands no more. A lot of the owners don't even pay property taxes, so we're losing a lot. My thing was to address the first-time home buyers, right? Was to, of course, give the original owners for these abandoned buildings an opportunity to rectify the building. And as the government will actually give a program, we'll introduce a program that will assist them in rebuilding or renovating their homes in an event they want to keep it or they want to sell it, rather than having it stand there and looking at the condition that it is. However, it'll be a 3 to 4 months waiting response. If no one responds by then we will take action as far as taking a home from those owners, but then we'll give it back to those first homeowner buyers, those especially specialized in low-income societies that we live in today. So at least they'll get opportunity, and they will be offered the same assistance as it pertains to getting an actual grant to renovate that building.
Thank you. And rebuttals?
I was the first.
No, Mr. Vaile was first.
Senator Vriele.
Okay. I thought I was, I'm losing track of the time here.
Yes, you're first.
There are barely any banks in the Virgin Islands that offer construction loan. I think there's one. And then insurance, builder's risk insurance, literally none. So if you want to really build a home, it's hard to get a loan in the Virgin Islands. They're literally asking you to look at a home that's already completed, and it can't be one that needs a lot of renovation. So we definitely need to have a conversation with the banks moving forward. Whispering Hill, Coakley Bay, all these development, I've heard these development every single year for the last 4 years that they're getting ready to begin putting in the infrastructure, they're getting ready to begin to build, and I have seen nothing happen. Vendors Plaza, for 2 years, Vendors Plaza was closed. There were no cruise ship, almost 2 years. Let's say at least a year. No cruise ships. No work was done. Cruise ships are back in St. Thomas now. Vendors Plaza closed down. They're going to do electrical. I mean, what type of planning is that? The legislature advocated for Vendors Plaza to be renovated, refurbished, rebuilt when we had no cruise ships. Now we have them across by the fire station when we have cruise ships. Makes no sense.
Thank you. Governor Bryan?
Ask the senator if he ever appropriated a dime in the 8 years to fix anything in the vendors' plazas. He did not. He did not put up a cent for it. The way we got it is through COVID. We used the money and made an excuse and said, we have to have these kiosks now in order to have separation when we have tourists. A real opportunity is in downtown revitalization. We have HUD urban development money, which is a little difficult to get, but we can have a system where we take these homes that have been in probate for years, put them under a family trust, and develop them, put them back up. We're going to be moving on this. We need the public's trust in order to do this. While governor, I have expanded the enterprise zone, and we're about to start the paint and scrape. The thing is with us, right, is there's so many programs going on at the same time. It is rather difficult to have all of them. Like, one of the things that's very near and dear to me is the bottom of Main Street and Frederickstead and Christiansted, all these buildings that are becoming like a cancer more and more. We have to have a conversation with the Historic Preservation Commission and with the owners and the heirs of all these properties to also redevelop them.
Thank you. Mr. Picard, if you wish.
Yes, ma'am. Back to Vendors Plaza. Here's the facts, ladies and gentlemen. Vendors Plaza is the main spot, main tourist attraction, right? October, the month of October, it's scheduled to have 22 ships, which carries 89,578 passengers. That's just for October. But he said it'll be completed by then. We'll see. November, when it's going to be over, we're scheduled to have 51 ships, 163,000 passengers for the month of November. And then in December, we have 76 ships scheduled, 216 passengers in December. So you guys hear these numbers as it pertains to tourism? That's how many tourists are coming here to the Virgin Islands. But these young ladies here at Vendors Plaza won't be able to benefit off it. Because once again, here we go, We promised to get this done. We're in the process of building this, and everything is in the process, but nothing is being completed. In the Picard administration, our job is to make sure things are completed so that everybody can go on with their lives.
Thank you.
Well,
Dr.
thank you very much. We are still going to be talking about livable. Clearly, there are many issues in our communities that need to be addressed, but one of them has to do with us handling safe, accessible, and affordable transportation. What kind of options do we have on islands that have limited land space? Clearly, having affordable transportation options are imperative to connect people of all ages to social activities, economic opportunities, and community services that everyone needs. So the questions to our candidates, beginning with candidate Brian, is what is your strategy to increase safe and accessible transportation options in the Virgin Islands, including inter-island travel?
So first, I would really like to thank Candidate Picard for pointing out how strong our economy is and how many cruise ships passengers are coming to St. Thomas as well as St. Croix, where we tripled the amount of cruise ship passengers for the year. So what are we doing? We're expanding the bus system. If you look, we have a new Vitran main terminal in St. Thomas, a new Vitran, one under construction in St. Croix. We've spoken now to Vitran to expand the service so that our seniors have transportation on the weekends, which is very important to us. We put in with a delegate for an inter-island ferry for the things that could be subsidized between St. Thomas and St. Croix in order to make inter-island travel more frequent. We didn't get it in the first go-round in the Congress. We're pretty confident that we're going into them. We're introducing over 100 new power charging centers free for the Virgin Islands. This is the reason why we bought Teslas, to advertise and talk to people about having electric cars. If we have solar-powered stations where we're getting that money, that's hundreds and thousands of dollars every day that don't go in gas, that are actually in people's pocket. That's going to help them as well. Little it be known that over the period of COVID, we have kept our ferry businesses alive. We've given them over $500,000 each to make sure that those can function still. We have in the works now where every single employee that's coming from St. John to work for the government will get free passage. Right now, it's not like that. And for our seniors, they will be able to travel from St. John to St. Thomas on the car barge for free on the weekends.
Thank you. Candidate Picard, could you speak to putting in place a strategy for putting in place safe and accessible transportation options?
Yes, ma'am. During this campaign, I noticed one thing is highly imperative. St. John's have a lot of serious issues as it pertains to transportation. There's more of a kind of a tree-level monopoly in St. John as pertains to the barges going back and forth from St. Thomas to St. John. A lot of St. Johnians actually living in St. Thomas because of the fact that the cost of living, whether the cost of rent is so high. The barges I noticed used to be, $55, and now it's just raised up to $65. Hasn't even been regulated by the PFC. They just raised the price because they could do it. My thing is, those people who cannot afford that amount of money going back and forth every single day, especially those who actually work in St. Thomas, I want to be able to provide yet another source of transportation for those people for lower income as it pertains to the barges. Through the Department of Transportation, I want to make things to get yet a barge, a government barge, to provide these services for the people from St. Thomas as well as St. John.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yes, ma'am.
that.
Absolutely.
Candidate Vele, would you speak to the transportation question?
Thank you. Definitely expand the paratransit system. The paratransit really provides a very, very good service for individuals who have a disability, individuals who are elderly and want to go and shop and pay a bill, but we don't have sufficient buses. I think we're in the process of trying to get some more utilizing federal funds, so we need to hire drivers, expand the service. We need to expand the present bus service that we have and establish more sites, more bus pickup spots that buses will be able to traverse the entire island, and no matter where a person lives, they'll be able to get bus transportation. We need to expand the amount of buses or be able to purchase more buses that are handicap accessible. The handicap population, handicap lady told me that a number of buses just passed by her because she was in a wheelchair and finally one stopped. So we need some training and some education among the staff. We need to utilize the Taxi Cab Commission to really begin to meet with the taxi drivers and begin to plan as to how they can expand the hours that they're working and the services that they're providing. Sometimes 9, 10 o'clock in the night is hard to get a taxi unless you know somebody personally, but we need to be able to expand the services that they provide and also be able to deliver security for those taxi drivers so they're not afraid to drive in the night and be able to pick individuals up. Because in conversation with them, they said the biggest thing is safety. So we make the island safer, we'll be able to expand the taxi service and be able to, for individuals to have more access to public transportation or paid transportation.
Thank you very much, Candidate Veale. Does anyone want to rebut? Yes, Candidate Bryan,
You know
then
we're never going to miss our
Picard.
opportunity to
Right,
speak.
apparently not, yes.
Good suggestions, Senator Veale. We do have 2 new buses online. Earlier this term, I think we worked with Senator Javon James to actually put together a piece of legislation that would allow the Taxi Commission to create its own Uber system. It would only be allow for 4 passenger cars. What this would do now, it would allow for senior transportation to the groceries, it would allow for late night transportation, and save people from drunk driving on our streets and killing our residents. We've been working with the taxi drivers during COVID. We know that they went through a hardship. We have authorized $1,000 for each taxi driver. We're hoping that they use this now to the senator's legislation to get them to expand the way that they take billing, so they can use PayPal, Venmo, and the others, and also so they can be better prepared to deal with any disease or anything else. We've also expanded so that I think we did the beginning for the app that tracks where the bus is, because if the transportation is reliable, now you can rely and say, I can go on it to work or whatever, and a lot of education around that.
Thank you. Candidate Picard, would you like to rebut?
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
Mr. Bryan, did you say Uber? You're trying to get Uber implemented there? Is that what it said?
I don't know if I could talk. No, that's not what I said.
Did you say? I know you said Uber.
Please,
I said
please.
Uber-like.
Or Uber-like.
That
not-
belong to the Taxi Association.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. The Taxi Association, I'm glad you brought it up as it pertains to association. We're going on 17 years now, and the taxis has never received a raise. And we're talking about St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John.
Got it.
I just read the numbers as it pertains to tourism, how many ships are coming here in the Virgin Islands. I think we need to show attention to the Taxi Commission. The reason why I asked Mr. Bryan about Uber, if that was in fact to come to the Virgin Islands, it would be a disadvantage for those local taxi drivers. And that's my pretty much take on that.
Okay, thank you. All right, Candidate Veale, would you like to
Yes.
rebut? Please, go ahead.
The Taxi Cab Commission is in disarray. That is one of the worst meetings that we had before the Senate, where they were not able to account for anything or be able to tell the legislature as to what are the future plans for taxi drivers in the territory. They were supposed to implement a tariff. The tariff was supposed to be implemented by the end of August. It hasn't been implemented because they said they couldn't get it printed, which is a totally ridiculous excuse. Legislation was submitted to this governor for 2 form of payment for taxi drivers. He vetoed the legislation, but today he's saying Ven and PayPal, and he vetoed the legislation. The legislation was not passed. He came up with some excuse. After personally telling me that it's good legislation, send it up, we're going to allow this legislation to move forward because it's in the best interest of individuals visiting the island. And when the pressure hit, he vetoed it and he made up an excuse.
Thank you, Senator Veale. Are you finished? Okay, thank you. I thought I heard that in your voice, but you didn't say anything. Okay.
Okay,
So we're
quickly.
going to move on to the last question.
Quickly, let's talk about WAPA. If elected, how will you protect Virgin Islanders from skyrocketing utility rates and bring equity back to the Virgin Islands utility policy? Mr. Picard first.
Thank you. WAPA is a complete disaster. It's a monopoly that's been going on for over 40 years. It's a monopoly that's going on even during Mr. Bryan's administration. The board needs to go, needs to be changed. That board should go back into the control of the government. There's too much misappropriation taking place in WAPA. As it pertains to energy now, I believe in options. We, the people of the Virgin Islands, need to have options. So what are different forms as it pertains to energy? You have aqua energy, you have the windmills, which was the original energy for the people of the Virgin Islands, and you have solar, and WAPA, of course, could be the backup. In our administration, I want to be able to give the people of the Virgin Islands a choice. You should be able to choose what energy sources you want, not be forced to the high prices for WAPA, there should be no guesstimation in a price. That's absurd. And that's been going on for years. We plan to bring that to an end. Our whole thing, once again, is to make the people, make the Virgin Islands a balanced place for everybody to live. This is Ronald Picard, and I'm number 2 on your ballot.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Vialet?
My running mate, Senator General Sarro, passed legislation to have subject area experts be named to the WAPA board. The legislation was vetoed. It was overridden by all the senators. The governor has failed to implement the legislation. He challenged it through the court system. So that was one of the first areas that we wanted to correct. We need subject area experts to be making those decisions. WAPA base rate now is between 22 to 24 cents, which is more than any other jurisdiction entire rate. So we got to deal with the base rate, because even if you get the LEAC to be 10 cents, the total cost is still going to be 34 cents. So we got to address the base rate, and we got to address the base rate by being able to bring VTEL to the table and to renegotiate with VTEL to extend the years out and come up with a number as to exactly what is owed to them. VTEL has been sued in every single country that they have worked in, and it is time for the government of the Virgin Islands to bring them and tell them, hey, we don't believe that the facility costs $160 million. Let's decide on what the number is, and whatever the number is, we're going to expand it out to 30 years. We're going to pay you at a lower interest rate. The agreement now is like 14% that they're paying. Additionally, VTEL is paid some $12 million every year to operate the propane facilities in the Virgin Islands. We could hire 10 engineers at $200,000 and save $10 million. We have a barge that's outside that we pay thousands of dollars in order to store fuel. You know, it's just totally ridiculous what has taken place with WAPA.
Thank you. And Governor Bryan, what do you have to say about WAPA improvements?
First, I want to address the way he said of legislation, what I vetoed. I've lost so much respect for Senator VLA over the last couple of years, because he was a strong senator, but he let them cow him, and he passed a piece of legislation that says that every business must accept 2 forms of payment, cash and money order. That's 2 forms of payment. They already do that. The legislation was useless. Getting to WAPA. First of all, the thing that the legislators, both Janelle Sarro and Senator VLA, have always tried to do is run the executive branch. The legislation is illegal. What he's not telling you is that the court told them it was illegal. The legislature cannot appoint people to boards. All they can do is approve what the governor has recommended. In terms of WAPA, we're doing real stuff. I'm the first governor to say that WAPA will be a renewable entity. Our power will be affordable, recyclable, and renewable. And it will be consistent. Right now, we have already launched a program that gives people options. We have the option now to take a loan for a solar program to get you totally off the grid at 1%, and you pay it back just like you pay in your light bill. If you notice, the power is staying on more frequently now. Why? Because we've rebuilt the substations. We're underground in the power. Or the composite pole project is moving along rather rapidly. When Puerto Rico was under duress from a little bit of rain and water, the power stayed on in the Virgin Islands. WAPA needs an opportunity to spend the $2 billion once again that is allotted to restore our electrical grid.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we don't have time for rebuttals, so that we can give you all your 2 minutes in closing time.
So candidates, we have reached the end of the question and answer portion of today's agenda. We want to thank you, of course. You will now have 2 minutes each to provide your closing statement, and we should start with, if we switch this around, that would end up being Mr. Picard.
Actually, I wanted to go last, but that's okay. I know, right? Ladies and gentlemen, listen very carefully. Tonight you heard a whole bunch of promises. You heard about a bunch of projects that's supposed to be completed, is about to be completed, and the fact remains, it's still here. When you leave this door today, you're going to see the same situation you saw prior before coming into this meeting. In the Picard-Turnbull administration, we focus on accountability. We are giving you exactly what you're asking for. Accountability, something you don't see in this administration. We've had more misappropriation of public funds in this administration, yet we don't even have a white-collar crime unit. It has not been activated in this unit. That's the problem when you appoint attorney general in a position. I believe that Attorney General should be an elected position. That's a way to avoid corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, corruption is like racism. If you do not attack it, we will continue to suffer. So many of our present politicians and former politicians have promised us the world and delivered nothing. My whole thing is to hold people accountable. I'm not afraid to hold you accountable. I'm not afraid to conduct a forensic audit. Because at the beginning and end of the day, I want to make sure that you live the life that's designed for you to live. I'm an independent. I have no party affiliation. I don't owe anybody anything. The only thing I owe to is the people of the Virgin Islands. Now, you've heard Mr. Bryan and Mr. Viale go back and forth as it pertains to bills. A bill means nothing if it's not an act. And an act means absolutely nothing if it's not enforced by the judicial system. Now, that's reality. And in Picard Terminal Administration, our job is to make everybody work together. I recognize we're all Virgin Islanders. God bless you.
Thank you. Yes, candidate, Senator Viale, you are next.
Yeah, thank you. People of the Virgin Islands, look at healthcare. Are you satisfied with the quality of healthcare that Virgin Islanders face on a regular basis? Are you satisfied? Or ask the question the next way. Do you believe that anything in healthcare has improved over the last 3 years and 10 months? Switch to education. Are you satisfied with the state of education in the territory? Schools open this year, schools closed, no water, no electricity, just closure after closure. Are you satisfied that the government of the Virgin Islands is addressing the learning loss in our students? People of the Virgin Islands, are you satisfied that the blue tops on the roofs are still there 3 years, 10 months after? Are you satisfied? Are you satisfied with the state of this territory, the quality of life issues that face us on a regular basis? The governor will tell you that you're satisfied because he paid you a retro. He'll say that you're satisfied because you got your 8%. He'll say you're satisfied because you got stimulus. But somehow, so much of this is being done just 1 month before election. Oh, I'm giving nurses retention bonuses after nurses in droves have left the hospital. But I'm giving it now because election is 1 month away. And I'm hoping that the people of the Virgin Islands are going to be fooled by the money that I'm dishing out. He just named a bunch more money that he's going to give out in the next couple of weeks. And all you're hearing consistently is, I plan to do this, I plan to do that. We're going to build this, we're going to build this facility, we're going to build that. But it hasn't started. Name one new school. Name one block that is going up for a school. Name anything that has happened that affects the quality of life for Virgin Islanders. Money is not quality of life. You could get a heart attack and you need to be stabilized by the hospital. That is not quality of life issues. And I'll end by saying, you clearly said you have lost respect for me. No big loss for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Viale Saro, number 4.
Thank you very much, Senator Viale. Governor, you have the last say.
First, I would like to thank the AARP for a really good conversation. I think that we should always engage in conversations where we bring the truth to the light, we hear people's ideas. Unfortunately, Senator Viale don't have any ideas. The stuff that he puts forth is stuff that he read, either or listening to people from my administration going to the legislature to talk about it. What is indeed unfortunate is that after 3.5 years of blocking everything that we put forth to make it better for Virgin Islands, him and his running mate chose their personal gain overall. Well, I chose the people. And with the people, I made sure that we put the people first. We put them first in COVID, and that's why we have the 3rd lowest death rate in the nation. We kept our seniors safe. And when COVID was done, we put our money where our mouth is, and we try to get them out, get them exercise, and get them secure. We're not putting out money because it's a great thing to do for the election. We're putting out money because people are under duress, whether inflation or otherwise. We have been consistent, tried, tested, and proven true. If there's one thing you know, Virgin Islanders, over the last 3.5 years, I call it like it is. I take a hard stand, even when it's not popular. You don't have to guess. For the last 14 years, these guys have been in the legislature, and now they're thinking it's time to move forward. What have they been doing all this time? Where were they when COVID was there? It's only now they're having the bright idea since the Brian Roach administration has come to town. You know that we are dedicated to people. And we've been doing since this day one is putting money in people's pockets because it had been owed to them for so many years and never paved. You know your road hasn't been paved in 40 years. We're paving it now. $288 million in tax returns given back to Virgin Islanders, $100 million in back wages, paying it because people need money to survive. Are we going to fix everything in the Virgin Islands in 3.5 years? No, but we fixed a lot, and we still love you.
Thank you very much.
Candidates, it has been an interesting event. I want to thank you for participating in this forum. AARP is pleased to have collaborated with WTJX to host this gubernatorial forum. We hope this was informative and that you are now better prepared to decide which candidate will be the next governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands. We thank you, the audience, for trusting us to present this forum and remind you that voting is your most important right. It gives you a say in what our future looks like. We urge you to make sure you register to vote. Vote early or by absentee ballot. Whatever you do, vote.